Ladies and gentlemen, let's start officially. It's another Mental Health Tuesday, today being 11th of January 2022. Welcome to this forum, a very safe space. We do this because we know the world is suffering mental health, and Kenya, we are not an exception. And every day we are hearing cases of suicide, homicides, and very alarming situations that are to do with mental health mishaps. So, as SambaSports Youth Agenda, with our partners, Greenstein Network and Diplomats for Health and other partners, of course, we said we should be holding this opportunity for people to share, to vent out, to find opportunities that they can be able to understand mental health and also to cope with their situations. So, without much ado, Bwana Cephas, can you give us a very short prayer so that we start? Cephas, are you there? If you have a situation, then we will pray. Let's believe and pray. Almighty God, we come to you. We thank you for all the glory that you have blessed unto us. We thank you for the gift of life, for the gift of health, for the gift of this meeting. We thank you that you allow us to keep meeting and trying to keep our society better. We ask of you to be with us in this meeting, and whatever we shall be discussing, please nourish it with your blessings, with your power, and make it meaningful for us and also for the people that we represent. We ask of you that you give us the strength and the patience that is needed for this kind of work. We know that when we involve you, we will be successful. And by the end of this meeting, we will glorify your name as ever, because we know there's nobody who can make it without you. Thank you very much. We pray and believe. So I want us to start off, but before we start off, I would like to recognize the presence of Brother Mukhtar Ogle, Office of the President, mwenye anahusika na mambo ya youth innovations and empowerment. We'll give him an opportunity later to speak. So today we are speaking about resilience, and I think it's the best topic to start with this year, as we start a year 2022, a brand new year, in the midst of all these mental health issues. I think we need to understand resilience, and so that resilience may accompany us to the 12 months of this year. Very important again, this is a year that is laden with the pressure. Ni mwaka wa siasa na makampeni, matusi na watu kuvyogana vitovu and everything. So if we understand resilience, we'll be able to overcome all this pressure of this year. So that's why we wanted to do this, and we want to welcome you so that we partake this journey together. All right? So you can write your name on the call chat and say who you are and where you are joining from. And if you have any story or you have any adage response, you can use the call chat, or you can raise your hand and we can give you an opportunity to speak. My name is Mohamed Ali Machausa, and I will be your moderator today. So we started by asking people to come up with stories. If you know a story, or it is your story that describes resilience, please share. You can share on the call chat, but you can also raise your hand and give an opportunity to share a story that you believe shows resilience. Let's begin. Anybody? You may use the call chat, or you may use, you may raise your hand. Okay, as we think, allow me to share my screen so that you can also show some photos that we believe show resilience. So please kindly come up write on the call chat or raise your hand so that you can be given an opportunity to share your story or your observations. Hamaton, you will come later, or you want to share now?
Any of the two, but I think coming later, coming now, it's okay for me. Either way, but I think you can go first and then I'll come later.
Okay. As we think about our stories, there's this photo. It's a photo that shows a very green tree surrounded by a very dry area, very emaciated trees, miti imekufa, udongo umepasuka pasuka kwa sababu ya hali ya kiangazi kikali, lakini kuna mti ambao kwamba uko na kijani kibichi. All right? Who can help us explain this? If you don't share a story, then please help us explain this. Let me try. Can you see the screen? Can you see the tree? People are very quiet. No one is writing. No one is saying anything. Hamaton, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure, I can. So, hi everyone.
Hello, what's up, sir? Maybe before Hatton.
Yes, please, Hassan.
Let me mute my TV, kidogo. Hatton will be the climax, I think. No specific story about resilience, but I can give, as a student of geography at the university, can give the weather pattern. What we call them seasons. Maybe we don't have seasons in our country. What we have in our country, we just have weather conditions. Seasons are talking about winter, spring, and whatever, the 4 seasons. When you look at the 4 seasons, you can see resilience being applied by the creatures around. For example, the trees. It reaches a time when we see trees shedding their leaves in anticipation of a harsh condition of a weather. Meaning what? In humanitarian term, you can say these trees, they have seen the negatives that are coming because of the weather conditions, and they're preparing to ensure that they save their energy for the better. And saving the energy because they know the weather is going to attack my leaves, and I depend on these leaves to do A, B, C, D. And without the leaves, this weather cannot attack me. And then they shed away those leaves. So they leave the harsh weather with nothing to attack. And because it's time bound, when the time passes for that weather conditions, then the tree now brings back the leaves so that it can save their lives, so that it can have a fresh start in their lives, and they can go on after everything stabilizes. What does that mean? It means that when we are being faced with a calamity, or you're anticipating a calamity, or we are facing a hard condition, that hard condition does not totally affect you. Maybe it will affect your income. Maybe it's job loss. It will affect your income. Maybe you lost a very close loved one. It will affect your emotions. So if that situation happens, just come up with a solution by saying, let me, because it is affecting my emotions, let me take away my emotion from this situation, and maybe I take my emotion to another area, maybe sports, where I reserve it until maybe I heal out and then love again. And I get my small earnings. I don't now go for happy areas. I don't go to, to party. The small income I have saved, let me spare it and change my way of life for the time being until that right time comes, and then I go back to my normal life. So the weather patterns, the weather seasons, through the creatures, show us how to deal with heart condition and come up better after that period has elapsed. Thank you, Bwana Machausa. Unmute, Bwana Machausa.
Wow. I was sharing, so that's I don't know, that's the best way maybe to start at this session. You have actually given a very practical example of resilience. When you look at the photo that I had shared, and then when you listen to your story, it says that resilience is not about the absence of challenges. Resilience is not the absence of challenges. It is the abundance of challenges, but still finding ways to cope with those challenges in a way that, it's like it's a norm. You expected the challenges will come. You found a way of dealing with them, and the period that is very difficult passes while you remain unscathed. But you can only achieve that when you are aware that these challenges will be coming, all right, and that you found alternatives to cope with them. So, and that, I think, gives the best description of resilience. And Bwana Hassan, with the story of shedding leaves, other trees actually develop thorns so that they don't lose so much water and they retain a lot of it, And I think the story of resilience has been adopted by flora and fauna all over the world. I think it is only human beings who are very reluctant to partake on resilience. And that story is a wonderful one, Bwana Hassan. Now, before I allow Hamaton, he says I can come in and then he can come later. I want to share another photo, but before I do that, I want to share with everyone here that not everyone who goes through a traumatic situation breaks down, or not everyone who goes through a very difficult situation becomes traumatized. We may be 100 people who go through a similar situation that is very painful. Some of us will be down. Some of us will be depressed. Some of us will go on a very long stretch of disturbance and pain. And some of us will not feel anything. But the pain was the same. The context may have been the same, but people cope with it differently. And that is what we call resilience. The level of elasticity of anybody when faced by calamity, when faced by challenges, when faced by pain, that is what brings that element of resilience. So it is not the absence of challenges. You may be 1,000 people facing the same situation, but maybe 200 of you run out unscathed. It's like it never happened. And 800 of you, because you were not elastic enough, you become the saddest stories shared across the world. So in mental health, it says not everyone who goes through a traumatic situation becomes victimized. But some of us get stuck in the past, and the past determine how we behave and how we foresee our future. There's a concept of, my son, Abdul, actually introduced me to a concept of hidden brain, and also the concept of choice architecture, that our choices in the future are manufactured by the experiences that we have gone through and through, that they educate us to deal with situations coming after a period of time in a certain way. All right. So if we were to define resilience, we can define it as that never say die quality existing in a human being or in some human beings that allow them to be knocked by life but come back stronger than ever before. So that quality that some of us can allow the world to run over us, itubingirishe bingirishe kabisa, lakini you come back stronger like nothing happened or like you are ignited. All right, that's resilience. Na inasema instead of letting life or instead of letting failure and pain drain them ama iwasambaratishe, wao wanaangalia hiyo pain na failure kama opportunity ya kuenuka wakiwa na nguvu zaidi. All right, so allow me to share another photo and then we can explain how different people cope with situations and where do we see resilience. All right, so there I have shared a photo. It has 3 parts. The one part is a family, a mother amebeba mtoto na vyombo na bwana na watoto wengine wakipitia through a very stressful moment. All right? Alafu a second photo inaonyesha kwamba wanafanya shughuli zao za kawaida, wanasoma vitabu, wanapika, and then another photo showing kwamba wamejiinamia, wameshika tama na it's like life, this is the end of life. So which of the 2 photos after the bigger photo shows resilience and why? Sorry. Which of the 2 photos shows resilience and why? I can say Riziki, Mama Riziki, can you go please?
Asante. Nataka kusema ni hiyo picha ya juu na kwa sababu katika hiyo familia wamechagua kuendeleza maisha yao kwa nafasi tofauti tofauti. Hawakuchagua kubaki walipo. Hiyo ndio inaonyesha the resilience ambao wako nayo kama familia. Yaani wanajichanganya kupitia shughuli tofauti katika hizo mbili ndogo.
Okay, asante sana Mama Riziki. Anybody else mwenye angependa kushare, maybe kupiga pondo hapo ama kuwa na a divergent view? Nani mwingine angependa kushare? Let me stop sharing. Raya, please.
Kindly reshare the picture, Mohammed.
Yeah, it's there now.
Okay. The first picture, hiyo ya juu, ndo inaonyesha resilience kwa sababu the parent huko juu na watoto wake wameendelea na hali yao ya maisha ya kawaida. For instance, the mama anaonekana anasafisha nyumba na watoto wameweza kusoma. Kwa the downer picture inaonyesha mama ameshika tama. Kushika tama yaashiria kuchanganyikiwa ama mtu kutoelewa jambo gani anaweza kufanya mbeleni. So hiyo ya juu inaonyesha watu wameweza kuendelea na maisha vizuri. Hii ya chini inaonyesha watu wako stranded, hawajielewi zaidi.
Wow. Asante sana Raya. Yuko mwingine angependa kushare ama pengine niulize swali mimi kwamba allow me to stop sharing so that I can read the chats pia. Why do you think wame react differently or wame respond to that stressful moment differently? ukiangalia wote kuna jiko linawaka, kwa hivyo si chakula amekosa, wote wako na chakula. Na hapo naona kambi kuna baba na watoto wawili na mama. Picha ya kwanza, baba amekaa na mtoto wake, wanaoneshana kitabu, aidha anamsaidia kudurusu. Mama amebeba mtoto mwingine na anashughulika na chakula kiko jikoni kinaiva. Hii picha ya pili bado pia kama mbele kuna chakula kinapikwa, maana kinaona jiko hapo, lakini kila mtu amejiinamia na wote wametoka kwa the same situation. Why do you think imechangia wa respond differently to that situation? Why? Anybody? Edwin, your hand is up. Please, can you go?
So my thinking is how wamerespond, kuna wenye wamerespond to be resilient, the first photo, because I tend to think that it usually depends on the various coping mechanisms someone has. So kwa mfano mmoja anaweza kuwa na amejielewa akijipata katika shida, bila anaweza tumia mbinu kadhaa, mbinu ambazo zenye anajua nikifanya hii inaweza songa mbele. Lakini mmoja ajifahamu ama ana namna ya ku overcome those challenges. So me, I tend to think that someone mwenye ameweza kujua that hapa hivi kuna jambo fulani imenitendekea, na anaweza tumia mbinu kadhaa niweze kusonga niende mbele. Sasa kama mtu hana those skills ama those abilities na ako self aware, then itakuwa vigumu for that person ku move on despite those challenges. So I tend to think one clear point ni mtu amejitambua yeye ni nani na ameweza kujua what other skills zenye naweza tumia niweze kusonga mbele. So tunaona huyo mama na hao watoto wameweza kuona that wametoka katika shida fulani, na wamesema that tunafaa kusonga mbele ili tuweze kuona vile tunaweza songa kama familia. That is my thinking.
Asante sana Edwin. I think you've brought an element of kujikubali, alafu na kusema life has to go on. All right? Alafu pia ukiangalia kwenye picha kuna element ya kwamba kila mtu yuko busy. Ile kwamba uko busy is a tonic. Ile kwamba uko busy ni nguzo moja muhimu sana ya resilience. Naona Bwana Mukhtar amechoka kukimya. Yes brother.
Assalamu alaikum Mohammed.
Wa alaikum salam sir.
Actually what you are doing is very impressive, and I made a conscious decision not to miss your programs, especially mental health. Mental health is very critical in all the works that we do, not only in our communities but also in our individual lives. And I think the pictures you have given are very illustrative of what the different scenarios about resilience. But again, you started with a very good question, asking what kind stories that they can give. I have one very important one, which I wanted to share and also touch on the topic of resilience for today's dialogue. This one is by Sheryl Sandberg. Sheryl Sandberg is a very powerful woman in Facebook. One morning while having breakfast and her husband was doing exercise on the wind trail, he fell down and she found him dead. To hospital, but death was pronounced. She came over that tragic moment by writing a book called Option B, which I will share with you after this session, and which I also extol every member in this forum to read for us to understand what truly reflects resilience. In the book, she talks about finding adversity, building resilience, and finding joy. Those are multiple elements in one, which is what we go through in our mental health when we are faced by challenges. Resilience for me, and I think in the pictures we have given, where in our individual struggles or in our families, resilience is building the ability to breathe again. And also looking at the platinum role of friendship in the communities that we come from. And I must also appreciate the excellent work that you are doing, Mohammed, in trying to engage communities, face challenges together, examine the purpose of resilience, and relate to their personal lives, to family lives, and community lives, particularly our struggle in rural communities, where there is abject poverty and lack of opportunities, despite the promise of devolution and of course, relating to personal responsibilities, whether it is drug abuse, substance abuse, or the dehumanizing elements of poverty. Resilience, therefore, is a very vital topic of discussion for even our individual levels. And our unit of analysis for me is our struggling, uneducated, school dropouts, or poor parents in the villages. I wish I could say this in Kiswahili, but the participants will laugh at my Kiswahili. It is not very good. But nonetheless, resilience describes in moments of grief how when we face acute grief and isolation, especially during death in the family. Resilience, therefore, comes from deep within us, and also as well as support from outside. That is very critical. The resilient person must develop the capacity to cope with the challenges they are facing. That one inside, and it comes as a personal drive. But the significant one that prompts that also is support from outside. Even after devastating events or challenges in our personal lives, it is possible to grow by finding deep meaning and appreciation of our lives. That is the singular purpose of resilience. And I will address myself to the issues of the growing trends in suicide, where people have a very poor, coping mechanism. And that is a failure on our part. And I think we must focus ourselves, whether in many of the unreported cases in the families, we must be our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper, especially in our rural communities. How I wish such a forum was extended to our communities in the rural areas. Si hiyo tu ya wale wanaongea Kiingereza mingi kama mimi na Mohammed. The more we impact our communities, the better. Resilience, therefore, for me, is self-compassion and self-confidence, no matter the tragedies that you go through. And I am very happy you are using very purposeful topics of discussion and for engagement. Resilience is the ability to bounce forward and taking back joy so that you don't just grieve, whether it is in death, whether it is certain mental health challenges, whether it is loss of a job, whether it's poor incomes, whether inability to cater for our families, to bring back joy and find strength in togetherness, in neighborhood, in family, in communities. And that we must also appreciate the ability, even when you have lost your wife or your husband, you must also be resilient and look forward to love and laugh again in whatever circumstance. Finally, for me, such dialogue forums help us to illuminate how to help ourselves and each other in times of crisis, whether it is financial, whether it is disaster, whether it is communal conflict. Such conversations help us to develop compassion for ourselves, raise strong children, families, and create a very resilient community, especially in the work we are doing in Kwale County. And we find this in our everyday challenges. Wengine wetu tunapigwa na bibi, wengine bibi bwana anachapa, kuna violence, wengine watoto wamemkula kichwa. We must be very truthful to these issues. Na wakina baba wananyamaza sana, hata wengine wanachapwa na bibi, and it's not cultural and socially pride to say umechapwa. Na hata kuomba wakina mama wasichape wazee, na wazee wasichape bibi zao. And even the children. For me, finally, I say, in resilience, kindness is a virtue, and it costs nothing. When you see one of you struggling, don't judge. Let us support each other in our rural communities and be brave for whatever challenges we face in our daily lives. Mohammed, my hour of sleeping, usually I sleep early and wake up early. So you'll allow me, if there are questions, I will answer. But I thought I should say that, but inshallah, I will also share the book for the members. And I must say, you are doing exceptionally amazing work. God bless you. And of course, let's share this conversation with our churches, Kanisa, Miskiti, so that we have a critical mass of community that is very conscious on the need for resilience in the challenges we face in our daily lives. More importantly, as we face elections also, let us be our brother's keeper. Let us deepen democracy in our communities by being tolerant and respectful of each other. Tusongee hii ustori chafu ya madoadoa. Let us be one Kenya, and we help build the legacy of the president of a progressive and united Kenya. God bless you, Mohammed. Thank you, members. I will be here for about a few minutes before I go to sleep, so you'll allow me. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Brother Mukhtar. We call that an encyclopedia because every time you are with us, you share. And who told you you are a presenter today? Because you actually have been a presenter of this session. You have said everything we should have said. Wonderful again, of course, and we can't tire having your company all the time, and we will keep pushing you to be with us. Thank you very much, all the way from State House. Stories of resilience. I've shared a few things from our Digo language. In our Digo language, we say that kifo cha wengi ni harusi. That if the calamity has befallen most of us, or we are together in a certain calamity, then it feels less painful. Kwamba kama sisi wote tuko pale basi haiumi sana. All right? Na pia katika Kidigo wanasema ananguruwe nkuwa mwana madomo, that even in the times of extreme hunger, the pig suckles its lips to the young ones. So the young ones suckle each one's lips, meaning they feel as if there is food or there's comfort. There's no food, but kwa sababu wameachiana midomo wananyonyana, that level of pain is dissipated, inapunguzwa kwa hali kubwa. So that is resilience. That is how we shed our lives when the time is bad. That is how we develop thorns so that we don't lose all our water in our body. I want to appreciate people who have written something on the call chat. Geoffrey Macau amesema no human is limited by Kipchoge Keino is just a brief explanation that we should be strong and embrace challenges because life will always have challenges, but how we overcome them is what makes life meaningful. Happy 22, everyone. Thank you very much, Macau. Francis Njoroge Kariuki says, first photo, the ability to adopt and adjust after stress. The first photo shows resilience. Thank you very much. Amesema the ability to adopt and adjust. I want to share some things, but I was looking at these contributions. The ability to adopt and adjust, the ability to find alternatives, the ability to be elastic, the ability to be innovative. That is resilience. All right. Daniel Mutua says, share the book. Of course, that will be shared. Maggie Shiku said, what is the difference between resilience and behavioral adaptation? Let us answer that later. Haman, I'm sure you've seen that question. Maggie anasema, what is the difference between resilience and behavioral adaptation? Let us combine and answer that towards the end. Riziki anasema, thank you, Mukhtar Ogle. Daniel Mutua anasema, adaptation is an action or something that results of action, whereas resilience is a condition. Asante. Be a spring. When pressed, you bounce back. Asante sana, everyone. I want to go into what Diane Kortu from Harvard said about resilience. He shared some things, and then we move into, we give Haman an opportunity to give us his presentation as well. So there's also a story shared of an oak and the sapling. Kwamba kulikuwa na floods. An oak is a very big tree. Mti mnene sana. Sapling is a very slim tree. Yani the oak ilikuwa ina take pride kwamba hiyo ni mzito, watu wakipita hiyo inaonekana. The sapling ni kamti kadogo tu, hakaonekani vile, lakini kanaweza kunyumbuka. So when the flood came, the oak was swept away because it could not bend. So it died with the floods. But the sapling just bent over and allowed the floods to move. And then when the flood were gone, the sapling tree stood up again and continued with its life. That is resilience. That is resilience. During adversity, you can be elastic, you can find alternatives, have pain a bit, and then you are able to move on. So Bwana Mukhtar amesema resilience is about bouncing forth or bouncing back. And resilience is a journey. It's not just an event, it's a journey. So a guy called Dan Corto from Harvard, he said this, that for resilience to be established or to be possible, there are 3 conditions. Condition one, I hope you can write this. Anasema, staunch acceptance of reality. Condition 1 for resilience, you have to have a staunch acceptance of reality. Kwamba haya yametokea. Stop being in denial. That is not resilience. When you're in denial, that is not resilience. Staunch acceptance of reality. Second condition for resilience, anasema, a deep belief supported by strong values and ethos. So your deep belief of values and ethos, the values of love, values of respect, values of togetherness, values of, humility and everything, those are very important conditions for resilience. If you have those, you can find resilience. If you don't have those, it will be very difficult to find resilience. The third condition, akasema, an uncanny ability to improvise. All right? The third condition, anasema, an uncanny ability to improvise. That when this doesn't work, can we find another option that works under this circumstance? That is resilience. So anasema, if you can have one condition or two, you may find resilience. But if you have the 3 conditions, for sure, you will find resilience when faced by animosity. Now, breaking this down, tukasema, condition 1, if you break it down, anasema, you have to have a clear view of reality. Nyumba imechomeka, kubali, imechomeka, ni yenu, ni yako, ulitumia pesa, but imechomeka. Another way is to say, you go numb yourself, you avoid it, you are in denial. Unaenda kuvuta bangi, unaenda kujifanya whatever, so that you don't remember that nyumba imechomeka. The sooner you accept kwamba nyumba ilichomeka, the better for you, so that you can move on. And this is explained also by the stages of grief. Any person who is of resilience nature, the stages of relief zinapita haraka sana. They can go within a day or 2. But a person ambaye kwamba is in denial, ama resilience yake iko very poor, they can move. These stages of grief zinaweza maliza mwaka mzima. And stages of grief zinakuwa explained kama 5 ama 7. 1, when it happens, the first stage of grief is shock and denial. Kwamba si mimi, hii haijanitokea, I'll go quickly because of time. Stage ya pili is anger and guilt. Anger, pain and guilt. Hiyo stage ya pili. Stage ya 3 is bargaining. Unasema, lakini mimi laiti ningekuja mapema, labda isingetokea hivi vibaya. Ama labda ningepiga ile simu, labda nisingekuwa nyumba imechomeka. Ama labda kama nisingevaa nguo hii, labda nisingerepiwa. Ama labda kama nisingekuwa hapa leo, kama ningekwenda mahali kwingine, nisingepata hizi shida. You are bargaining. But it has happened. You are bargaining. The following stage is depression. You've denied, you've been in denial, you've been in anger, you have bargained. Now reality has hit you, you are depressed. You loved chapati so much, now you don't want chapatis. You loved music so much, now you don't want to listen to music. It is meaningless. Ulikuwa unachapa kazi vizuri sana, nao kazi hata hautaki kuifanya tena. Because now you are depressed, things that were very meaningful to you zimepotea. The next is upward turn, ambapo sasa unaanza after depression, unaanza kukuja kwa reality, alafu inafuatwa na reconstruction and working through, alafu mwisho kabisa kama sasa umeenda kupoa, you accept, unaenda katika acceptance kwamba hii kitu imetokea, I can invest in another way na nitarudi pale pale. So that's the explanation of clear view of reality. When you have a clear view, then the stages of grief zinachukua muda mfupi, but kama you are in denial na wewe ni mtu ambaye kwamba hauna hizi values and ethos, then unaweza kaa mwaka mzima bado haujapoa kitu ambacho kilitokea 2021. The second stage, the second condition ambao Bwana Kotu alisema kuichanganua kabisa, inasema ni belief system, that let us believe that even in the deepest of oceans, when we are in our lowest of ebbs, kama yani vitu vimetuharibikia kabisa, still we can find meaning in life. Even when everything else hasn't worked, we can still find meaning in life. The last one is flexibility and innovation. Kwamba if A doesn't work, be very quick to be elastic and find A and find B, C and D options that may work. Kitambo kiangazi kiishe na majani yameisha yote, unajua mvua ikinyesha tena utamea majani mengine. In the meantime umelose majani, lakini unasema bado maisha yapo. All right, thank you very much. Let me give it to Hamaton Mugambi. Please tell us a story.
Hello everyone, how are you guys? How are you doing? So venye mmesikia, my name is Mugambi Hamaton. Who is Mugambi? So to introduce myself, I'm a financial engineer, but most so I'm passionate about mindset and mental health, because for me I find a lot of joy, a lot of reason to do this. And thank you so much, Mohammed, for actually organizing this, and actually the entire team for organizing this, because it cost a lot of commitment, a lot of desire, and a lot of passion for this. And lastly, thank you so much everyone who is here, because I truly and strongly understand that you've left your job, your family, your time to be here with us. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate. And Mohammed, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. So because of time, I'll actually not take much of your time, guys. So mine is a story. So in 2019, I met this person online, and you know, for me, I really have a very high risk appetite. Like for me, nikiona kitu hapa manze, I'm going to omoka. I'm telling you, I'll sink in, because you know, for me, like, okay, but I think back then I was naive. So I met this person. The person was telling me, and actually, the person actually told me about a cryptocurrency. So in 2019, cryptocurrency was actually on the rise. Like, you know, everybody was buying crypto. My friends were buying crypto, and you know, so it actually sounded like a very good deal. So is Mugambi. So for me, like, you know, manze, it was actually a nice deal. You know, if actually anybody told you, you could actually buy. Okay, you could actually buy to it. So by then, okay, this is what my dad used to do. So for me, when I was given monthly, I was never given monthly allowances. I was, for example, given in school, for example, money for the whole semester. So my rent, my upkeep, everything that I want to use for that month. So apparently that month I was given slightly more. So I was given around 75,000. So 75,000, there is rent, there is food, and actually I was to pay some amount of money to school. So 75,000 maze, that was not the entire money to ball. Najua nasema 75,000 and then mko like, hey, in 3 months maze 75,000, it's a lot. So no, that was not the case. So after I met this person, the crypto guy, you know, I started, you know, engaging this person. I was like, hey, manze, before I finish school, I'm going to become a millionaire. You know, manze, I'll be doing it. I'll have done it. I'll have done a degree, and I will have become a millionaire. So who is me? So on it, okay, remember it was actually on during the month of October. So nimetoka class, then I'm home. So we've been speaking to this person, and then apparently I sent the person money. It was around 72,000. So imagine in the morning I had 75,000 in my account. By evening I have 72. Okay, I have 3,000 in my account. And the 3,000 in my account, I should pay rent, I should eat, I should do shopping, I should do everything. So what should I do? I think that is when my life fell apart. So what I did, I actually called my friends. Yo guys, where are you? So we went out drinking. I think I was so naive and stupid back then. So we went out drinking. So that is me, tukamaliza the 3,000. So the next day, I don't have money. I am 75,000 less. And so my life should actually happen because I have not paid school fees. I've not paid my rent. I've not paid my food, and actually I don't have anything to eat. So for me, I actually approached a cooperative bank. So by then I was given a loan of 66,000. So for me, I back then I really loved postponing my problems, whereby I know this is a problem, but later on sitaki kuiface sahi. Let me face it later on in life. I'll face it hapo mbele kidogo. So after taking the loan of 66,000, at least I paid my rent. For the 3 months I survived. So sasa kwenye shida ilikuja, it was in January. So in January I was given another money. So that is in 2020 January. I was given some other cash. My due. So in January, unajua sasa ukiwa na loan kwa bank, when you deposit money in that account, money goes. So so I deposited money. Oh no, sorry, my dad deposited money in the account and then money kaenda. So it was 75, it was 66. So he deposited today, the next minute sina pesa. So it was like, Mugambi, go to school, all the best, pay 30,000 to school. The time that he's telling me to pay 30,000 to school, I am 66,000 less. I think that is when now I started, that is not the issue of depression. That is when now it came up. Because for example, for me, how I love, back then I think I really wanted, I really wanted to deal with my own problems. Like I really don't want to involve anyone. Nataka kusolve shida zangu mimi mwenyewe. So like it is up to me. So I really have to look at how am I going to approach this problem and deal with it. So I started betting. Betting hata ikanifanya hata nikakuwa broke zaidi. So it reached a point I am in debt, I am angry, I'm bitter. In school I'm failing. My life is basically falling apart. So this is now when everything caught up with me. It was actually in February 27, 2020. So my dad calls me and tells me, you know what, Kamile pesa hujalipa shule, you do this. Send me 20,000. I want to use it instantly. Sasa I was actually caught up because this person is asking for money. I don't have money. I can't get another loan from cooperative bank and send him. So I'm now in problems. I was like, okay, yes, I'll send. Mimi nikazima simu. And then after some few days, and it was actually on a weekend. So the next weekend is like, why mbona like umekuwa ukizima simu the entire time? So it reached a point and now I had to open up. So explain to dad everything that happened from point A to point F. Like this is what happened. I was enticed into cryptocurrency, and then I was conned. After being conned, this is what I did. So actually that is now what I did. So first of all, on now today's topic, because as actually I told Mohammed, I love explaining and presenting from my own story, because I strongly believe most people, maybe not everyone, but at least a couple of guys can relate to what I'm saying. So for example, for me, how did I become resilient? First of all, you must know, where do you lie? Like uko wapi sahi? What is the situation? So for me, I knew I was depressed. I knew I was in debt. I knew my life was falling apart. If actually you meet me in person, I'm a very, very, very fun person. I'm always smiling. I'm always, I'm like, mimi ukinipata tutacheka na wewe, we'll actually meet and actually spark a conversation. So this is Mugambi. I'm so dull. My friends are asking me like, your life is falling apart. What's up with you? I'm like, me too, niko poa. But so it reached a point I knew my life was falling apart. And so the second thing that I did was seeking for help. First of all, you have to seek help from people. For me, I advocate to, okay, you seek help from your family, or maybe a partner, maybe a romantic partner, like maybe a partner, like maybe your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever. Because remember, most people think they have friends, yet they don't have them. Yes, they don't have friends. They have people who they know. So for example, for me, I open up to dad, I told them, what, dad, mom, and say, my life is falling apart. So at least for me, I had someone to open up to. So even for you guys, for everybody who is listening to me, at least have a place where you can seek help from. So at least for me, and then have this one person. For example, for me, I have three best friends. These are people, like, ever since then, these are people, like, no matter what happens to me, I can actually get back to them and tell them, what, Manze, life is falling apart. So at least have those people. And then that at least change your metrics that you use to rate yourself. Let me say this, Mohammed. I'll actually tell you guys this for free, and please understand, like, what I'm saying. My point is this: in life, there's no problems. In life, there are no hard situations. Because if, for example, Mohammed, you have a situation that you can actually maneuver around it, you call it an opportunity. But if you have a problem, but if actually you have a situation where you can't maneuver around it, you call it a problem. So life is full of situations. So how you maneuver this situation, it's up to you. You might maneuver it to your advantage. You might maneuver it to your disadvantage. If you maneuver it to your disadvantage, you call it a problem. So it is all about becoming conscious about life, and actually you really have to become conscious about life. Remember, if actually you become conscious about life, before you do anything, you know that, for example, if it's dating someone, I want to date this person, and if I want to date this person, this person can leave me, this person can hurt me, this person can love me, and this person can make everything work for me. So it is actually all about having your situations figured out. And then, are you ready to face these situations? If, for example, you want to date this person and then this person turns up to leave you, you get. So it is a thing that you should be conscious about, you get. So I think life is actually and another thing I really love saying and telling everybody around me is that you become a conscious creature. The problem is most of us are not conscious human beings, because, for example, for me back then, when I wanted to invest in crypto, I was not conscious. So I thought it is all about making money. I didn't think I could lose the 70,000 that I had back then. So I think it is all about becoming conscious, and when you become a conscious person, everything that you see, uko conscious about it. So for you to become resilient, you really have to become a conscious person. Look at the advantages, look at the disadvantages. If the advantages are better, then take it. If the disadvantages are not, if the disadvantages are more, leave it. And then lastly, let me say this, Mohammed. You're not the first one to be broke, and you're not the last one to be broke. You're not the first one to be divorced, and you're not the last to be divorced. You're not the first one to drop out of school, and you're not the last. I can actually give a series of events from now even up to tomorrow morning of things that you're not the first and not the last. So what happens, for example, there's someone who maybe the person is broke, then it turns to drugs and substance abuse. It's because of the mindset that we have. It's because of how we approach our life, sisi wenyewe. So, and actually, when you understand, this thing will happen even for generations. Your children, they'll actually have these problems. So, when you understand that, then resilience will come. Because if, for example, right now, Mohammed, you don't have a job, you not go out there, becoming playing sympathy, asking people to favor you, thinking that when you post your story online, maybe people will sympathize with you. These people do not care, Mohammed. So when you understand that, then, for example, right now, if I don't have a job, I'll start looking for a job. If right now I'm broke, what should I do? I start looking for money. If, for example, right now I'm in a toxic relationship, what should I do? I start healing. That is actually what should happen. But instead, most of us who are very comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. You want to be comfortable in a place where in an uncomfortable situation. So it is all about how you change. And for guys, and actually, for example, for men, you know, most men tunakuanga like most men are never open. You get, but at least men, let me advise you this, and actually let me tell you this. At least find someone or find someone you can talk to. That is that is the only way you can become resilient. Lastly, remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. So first of all, fill your cup, then pour what is extra. You cannot be loving if you don't love yourself enough. You can't help someone if you're not okay with yourself. But the problem with most people is you are not okay with yourself, you're not okay yourself, but you want to be okay, but you want to be okay around people. It can never happen. So I think that is my story. In case you have a question, I am still here. And then on the question about behavioral adaptations and resilience, behavioral adaptation is actually it's actually a response to a situation. We are not dealing with the situation. No. For example, right now, what I did, I actually developed an adaptation. Back then, I was in debt. For example, your time you lose 72,000. So what did I do? I took a loan of 66,000. So in short, a behavior adaptation, you're not actually dealing with the situation. But resilience, you're actually building upon the situation. You're actually building up on the situation. For example, for me, I actually chose to start online writing, to start Forex, to start, trading, to start, actually working my ass off because I really knew that, I have a burden and all these things are mine. So you have to become resilient. That is actually the difference between behavioral adaptation and resilience. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. Thank you so much. If you have a question, I'm around.
Thank you very much, Hamaton Mugambi. We had a midline presenter, so of course time has gone. Wish we had more time. I want to also give my voice on the question from Magishiku. What's the difference between resilience and behavior adaptation? My take is resilience is the destination, and behavioral adaptation may be the medium to reach there. And like Hassan's story of the trees, when the trees shed leaves so that they don't get adversely affected by the weather, that is a behavioral adaptation that leads to their resilience in that bad weather. When a cactus tree grows in the desert or in a very arid place, and its leaves is going to develop thorns, that's an adaptation that allows them to be resilient in that weather. All right. So sometimes we may adapt to a behavior that may not necessarily actually get you to the destination of resilience. For example, if you start smoking bang because you lost your husband, it is an adaptation to numb the pain so that you are not frantic and facing that reality. But is it a good adaptation? Maybe not, because it doesn't give you resilience. So that's the difference. That a behavioral adaptation may be the number of choices of behavior that people take so that they feel more comfortable or resilient. But some adaptations may not necessarily actually take us to the resilience. Some adaptations may not take us to resilience. Tell me, Meenda, it's 13 minutes past 9. We need to wind up. And I think there's so much to learn from this. Mukhtar came in and he gave so much. I wish we were writing. He gave so much about resilience. I think that was the best presentation today. And for me, I just want to remind us of what Diane Kotu said. You have 3 fundamental pillars to achieve resilience. One is a staunch acceptance of reality. Kubali kwamba yametokea. 2, fundamental pillar of resilience is a deep belief system, a deep supported by values and ethos. The value system, the values, maadili, very important for resilience. Very, very important for resilience. Pillar number 3, fundamental pillar number 3 is an uncanny ability to improvise. If you are able to look outside the box and say, aha, this has happened, but I think we can do this. Tumezoea kula pilau, biriani, chips na mayai, lakini leo kumekauka. Leo utakula ugali na mchunga for siku 2-3, kitambo mshahara uingie, tutarudi tena kwenye pilau yetu na mabiriani. That is resilience, looking at alternatives that work in that circumstance. All right, thank you very much. Anybody else, anybody with a question? If it's too burning, then we close. Swali, any contribution, feedback, how this session was? Hello.
Okay, Mohammed. First of all, I'll start from my end. I really want to say that this discussion was quite eye-opening to me, especially from what Mukhtar said, and actually what the comment from the other speaker. Sorry, nimesahau the name. Sorry. So for me, and actually want to appreciate you and appreciate everyone that planned this, because mental health is a very crucial topic, yet most people just sweep it under the carpet. So thank you so much for hosting this, and to everyone who's listening, thank you so much for being here. I think to many more such talks to listen from one another. Maybe later on we can actually have sometimes longer, so that at least each and everyone shares their stories, because I strongly believe each and every one of us has a story where they became resilient at one point or the other. So that is the much I can say.
Thank you very much, Hamaton. Much a pleasure to have you on board and share your story. I think that was very informative. I also want to thank everyone. I can see there are chats coming. Maybe that's feedback. Let me read it. Mahmoud says sorry for late joining. That's okay. We've all been affected by power today. The forum has been informative and empowering. Thank you very much, Edwin Misheka, all the way from Nairobi. Francis Joroge Kariuki says the session was quite informative and eye-opening. I loved every bit of it. Thank you very much, CEO Frank. I think that's about it in terms of feedback. So Mahmoud Ali says resilience, I believe it's all about 7 C's: competence, confidence, connection, character, contribution, coping, control. MashaAllah. That's it. Thank you very much. Steve Maniki says apologies for joining late. It's okay, Steve. Cynthia Chepkirui says this is my first time joining this meeting and I commit to always attending it. Thank you very much. Be our guests, Cynthia. So that we are able to follow through with this topic. Next topic, inshallah, we'll be talking about mind, body, and spirit connection. How do we connect our minds, our body, and our spirit? That also to bring that element of awareness and also resilience. And after that, Edwin Misheka, we requested you. After next week, inshallah, we need that presenter to come and give us a talk on suicide prevention. It may be 1.5 hours, but it's worth it. So Edwin, please be looking for that lady presenter, whatever it takes. If she needs to be paid, whatever, as in we need that conversation. So let's talk from tomorrow, Edwin, and see that then the week after next, we are able to have that conversation on how do we prevent suicide. So thank you very much, everyone. Magishi Kutois, it was informative. Thank you very much. So we have come to the end. We have taken more time today than before, but I think it was worth it. It was worth the while. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Samba. Thanks, JSN. Thanks, Diplomats for Health. Thank every participant and every presenter. God bless you. Let's meet next week, Tuesday, like today.